Welcome back. My guest in this segment, returning for the, I don't know, 10th time maybe? Sean Dollinger is the CEO of Namaste Holdings Inc., trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol N. One letter, N. Sean, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having us on.
Sean, you are one of the most dynamic companies, I must say, in the cannabis LP universe, but you're not an LP, correct?
Kind of. We are an LP.
Okay.
So it is really interesting. We just decided not to go for our cultivation license. So we're a licensed producer. There's no difference between us, Canopy, Aurora, Afria, except we don't cultivate.
Right. And why don't you cultivate?
We decided to leave it up to the experts. For example, Canopy's been around for 10 years, 8 years going at it, and we still see them having trouble with it, right? And here we were new to the game just a few years ago. What we're really great at is e-commerce. So that's where our focus goes, and we leave it up to the experts to cultivate, and then we take that product and sell it on our platform.
Right. So you're going to sell the product of all the LPs at some point online?
That's correct. So right now, if I said to you, and you're experienced in the cannabis market, which LPs are number 20 to number 40 right now? I think you'd even have a tough time naming 40 licensed producers out there. What happens when that becomes 100, 200, 300? How does that person who's coming out in a few years from now still develop a product name for themselves? Mm-hmm. On our platform with our relationships, we're able to bring that product to life through our distribution.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is going to be like the Amazon.com marketplace of cannabis?
Pretty much, except we're the platform. So Amazon's done an amazing job, as we know, one of the most valuable technology companies in the world. But we're taking it a step further. We're looking at, for example, companies like Airbnb, Uber, that are the platforms that drive traffic, but they don't actually own inventory. For example, Airbnb, they don't own real estate, but they're the #1 real estate company in the world.
Sure.
If we look at Alibaba, they're a fantastic platform, very similar to Amazon, but they don't actually carry the inventory. Right. So over time, we're hoping on the cannabis side of things that we could connect into the different licensed producers' inventory across Canada, and then we could go ahead and sell those products.
Sure. Okay, so how has Namaste been evolving over the last 3-6 months? You guys have made some really splashy moves. You've kind of got the attention of regulators, but it's all good, obviously, because you're driving forth and you have nothing stopping you.
Yeah, listen, we have lawyers and legal teams. They look at everything, right? We're one of the larger publicly traded companies out there. Earlier this year, we went through $1 billion market cap in just a couple of years of being public. And obviously, we make sure to do everything great. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you need to think outside the box. And one of the latest things that we did was working with a online dispensary called Buds to Go. And after the legalization of cannabis, where Health Canada and the Canadian government said that they would come out and go after companies that were still operating illegally, they would be shut down. Well, through our telemedicine app, it's allowing us to use technology to help these people who were purchasing illegally to come over to the medical side if they really do need a medical license. But at least it gives the ability for people to go the route where they were going previously to actually come over to the legal side.
Right. So there are a great number of users of cannabis in Canada who have medical licenses, who are kind of recreational in origin, but if one considers the fact that a recreational regular exposure to cannabis is a way to self-modulate mental health, then really, what's the difference? Where's the line between medical and recreational?
That's a great question, and we believe, why not take the responsible approach? As I'm sure you know, sometimes you could have a product and it gives you a feeling that you weren't after, and perhaps you experimented and ends up hurting you as a customer going for many years into the future, and you're hesitant, right? And we believe on the medical side of things, if we could take you through a process, an education process, where we could actually get you the product that you actually need and remove the borders. What happens if there's a product that you absolutely love in BC right now, and you're in Ontario, how are you getting that product on the rec side legally? You can't just ask your buddy to ship it. That's technically illegal. With medical, we could now ship that product across Canada and get you the product that you really need.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you don't need any rules to change, per se. You just need your customers to become patients.
Correct. Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to log on and become a patient today.
That'd be awesome. Please let me know how that goes.
Sure, I sure will. Okay, so then now you've also got, your eyes on other jurisdictions. Give me an overview of what your international scope and planning is and your thinking is right now.
Yeah, that's, it's funny you go there. So, I'm here in Toronto this week and speaking to many different people, and you see a shift always, right? Like, oh, now it's hot to be international, so people start talking about that. If you look at Namaste, we actually started our business in the UK and Australia. We're the largest business to vaporizer company in the world, right, to B2C. And to give you an idea, in Australia and the UK, we have over 1.5 million customers. So now we're able to go ahead and use our UK distribution to start selling cannabis, hopefully, in the next few months.
To medical patients in the UK.
Correct.
Interesting. So again, you're not planning to get a license to grow cannabis. You're planning to sell the cannabis that licensed producers are growing within the medical framework.
Exactly. So we're not looking to reinvent the wheel.
Wow.
Canada has given us an unbelievable opportunity to prove our model, to build it out. I remember a couple weeks ago when we started selling, because we just got our sales only license just about a month and a half ago. And it takes time to get product and do it properly, right? This industry is here to stay. And I remember people saying, oh, they only have a few products on their website. And now we have 6 products. And I think this morning I woke up, we actually have 16 products today. And we're going to see this acceleration keep going. And then we'll be able to take this. And that's what the Canadian government's allowed us to do, is really experiment, explore, make sure that we could prove that we could follow all the guidelines and regulations. And then that gives other governments around the world comfort.
Mm-hmm. So do you get the sense that Canada is aggressively cultivating, to use the pun, your participation because it satisfies their objective of excluding the black market sources of cannabis from being supplying Canadians?
So we're always trying to help. Like, that's what Namaste is all about, and sometimes we're taken the wrong way. Everybody's our partner. So I've said this before, if somebody buys from Aurora and doesn't buy from Canopy, Canopy actually loses out. Or if somebody doesn't like Canopy products, they lose out if people like Aurora. On our platform, no matter who buys from us, we're happy that they're coming and trusting and putting their trust in us. We plan on being the largest e-commerce company across Canada as far as cannabis, anything cannabis related, vaporizers, growing equipment, anything. But then we're working with micro-cultivators, which, for example, when rules and regulations have changed, it's really hurt them. These people relied on this business. Corey Zellickson, who co-founded the company with me, we're working extremely close with Cannabis Compliance, arguably the #1 compliance company in the whole cannabis space globally. We have an extremely great relationship with them. And in Nelson, BC, 2 weeks ago, we went ahead and held a conference. And over 50 micro-cultivators showed up. We've already signed up a whole bunch of them, tons more interest in there, where we've actually went ahead and guaranteed buying all of their product and then using our distribution and e-commerce network. So last year, people were like, oh, how's Namaste even going to have product? How are they going to go if they're not growing? I don't understand. Where do you plan on getting it?
Right.
And it's through strategies like this that not only are we helping our fellow Canadians, but at the same time, we're allowing other Canadians who love those micro cultivation products to be able to be sold on our platform.
Interesting. So Namaste is sidestepping the high-cost, low-margin commodity side of the business in preference for the consumer packaged good, high-margin retail side of the business.
You've hit it bang on. That's exactly what we're after.
Wow. Well, so I would think that would be extremely resonating very well with investors. I mean, it strikes me that, all equity prices have been beaten up alongside the general malaise in the global sort of marketplace. So when they all bounce back, I mean, with the proliferation of growers, this kind of a model seems to make a lot of sense.
I would really hope that people really understand. So even though I go out and tell the story that we're your everything cannabis store, whether you're looking for vaporizers, cannabis, CBD, growing, anything, we want to be your one-stop shop. And we're in 20 countries around the world. It's not like we're just in Canada if the regulations change a little. So I really hope that people take the time to understand. We've been encouraging our own investors. I have my weekly show at 4:20 on Wednesdays. And now I start each show not to take it for granted that everybody knows what we do, but really to jump in and explain what we do so people can really understand and then spread that word. Because if people don't understand, how are they able to invest and have confidence in the company?
Well, you bet. Well, that's awesome. I love the pivot you guys have done. It's just amazing. And so we're going to follow along with interest, and I'm going to become a client shortly. So
Awesome.
Thanks very much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us on.